I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir. Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing.
Title: The one truth about Michael Jackson's death people still struggle to accept. There is one truth about Michael Jackson's death that people still struggle to accept. It wasn't simply that he died. It wasn't simply that a doctor went to prison. And it wasn't simply that the king of pop never made it to the This Is It stage. The most painful truth is this: Michael Jackson did not die in front of millions. He did not die under the lights. He did not die on stage, surrounded by music, dancers, and applause. He died in a quiet bedroom, behind closed doors, while the world was still waiting for his comeback. And what happened inside that room changed the way people looked at fame, doctors, pressure, and celebrity medicine forever. In 2009, Michael Jackson was preparing for This Is It. To the public, it looked like a resurrection, the return of the king of pop. The concerts were supposed to prove that Michael could still commune. But behind the excitement was pressure almost no human being could carry. 50 shows, global attention, a body that had already endured decades of stress, a mind that reportedly struggled with severe insomnia, and a legacy that needed one final victory. The world saw a comeback, but some people close to the situation saw something much more fragile. A man trying to sleep, a man trying to rehearse, a man trying to survive expectations that had become almost impossible. The center of this story is propofol. Propofol is not a normal sleeping pill. It is a powerful anesthetic used in medical settings, usually with trained professionals, monitoring equipment, and emergency support network. It is designed to put people under, not simply help them rise. And that is where the tragedy begins. Michael Jackson was not in a hospital. He was not in an operating room. He was in a rented mansion in Los Angeles. And according to the official investigation and trial, propofol became part of the private routine used to help him sleep. That single fact is still difficult to process. One of the most famous entertainers in history was depending on a surgical anesthetic to do what sleep could no longer do naturally. On June 25, 2009, something went terribly wrong. Michael Jackson became unresponsive. Emergency services were called. Paramedics arrived. He was taken to UCLA Medical Center. And at 2:26 p.m., Michael Jackson was pronounced dead. The world froze. Fans gathered in shock. News stations interrupted programming. People cried in streets, outside hospitals, outside his star on a Hollywood Walk of Fame. But while the public was grieving, investigators were asking a different question. How did this happen? And the answer would become one of the most disturbing chapters in celebrity history. The coroner's finding was clear. Michael Jackson died from acute propofol intoxication, with other sedatives also playing a role. His death was ruled a homicide. That word matters. Homicide does not always mean murder. It means death caused by another person. In this case, prosecutors argued that Dr. Conrad Murray failed in his duty of care. They argued that he administered dangerous medication in an unsafe environment. They argued that he did not properly monitor his patient. And they argued that when things went wrong, the response was not fast enough. Dr. Murray's defense claimed Michael may have self-administered the fatal dose. But the jury did not accept that argument. In 2011, Conrad Murray was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. The most haunting part of Michael Jackson's death is not only the drug. It is what the drug represents. Because propofol was not really the beginning of the story. It was the final symptom of a much larger problem. A man who could no longer sleep. A career built on impossible standards. A comeback that carried the weight of redemption. A private medical situation that should never have reached that level of risk. Michael Jackson spent his life giving the world spectacle. But in the end, the thing he needed most was not applause. It was rest. And that is the tragedy. The world demanded one more performance. His body needed peace. Chapter 6. Why people still argue. More than a decade later, people still argue about Michael Jackson's death. Some blame the doctor. Some blame the pressure of the concerts. Some blame the machinery of fame. Some believe Michael himself was trapped by his own need to be perfect. Maybe the truth is not one single answer. Maybe the truth is that all of these forces met in one room. Fame, medicine, insomnia, pressure, trust, and human weakness. The official record tells us how Michael Jackson died. But it does not fully explain why his life had reached that point. And that is why the story still hurts. Conclusion. Michael Jackson's death was not a mystery in the way conspiracy theories want it to be. The medical truth has been documented. The legal case was tried. The conviction happened. But the emotional truth is harder to face. A man who spent his life performing for the world died while trying to do something ordinary. Sleep. No stage. No spotlight. No final bow. Just a quiet room. A doctor. A dangerous drug. And a comeback that never happened. Maybe that is the real truth about Michael Jackson's death. Not that the world lost a legend, but that behind the legend was a human being who was exhausted. And by the time the world realized how fragile he had become, it was already too late. In the weeks before his death, Michael Jackson was doing something many people never expected to see again. He was working hard. Footage from This Is It rehearsals shows a man who could still command a room. The voice was there. The timing was there. The instincts were still there. When the music started, people around him often saw flashes of the performer who had once conquered the world. And that is one reason his death shocked so many people. Because the rehearsal footage seemed to tell a different story. A story of a comeback, not a collapse. But behind the scenes, concerns were growing. Some people involved in the production later described moments when Michael appeared exhausted. Others said he seemed focused and engaged. The truth is that both things may have been true at the same time. A performer can look extraordinary on stage while privately struggling away from the spotlight. And perhaps no one understood that better than Michael Jackson. For decades, he had mastered the art of appearing larger than life. Even when life itself was becoming increasingly difficult, one detail appears again and again throughout accounts of Michael Jackson's final months. Sleep, or rather, the inability to sleep. For most people, insomnia is frustrating. For a global performer preparing for 50 massive concerts, insomnia can become terrifying. Every missed night of sleep creates anxiety. And anxiety makes sleep even harder. The cycle feeds itself, night after night, week after week. Imagine lying in bed, knowing that thousands of people are expecting you to perform the next day. Imagine knowing that hundreds of millions of dollars depend on your ability to function. Imagine hearing the clock move from midnight to 1 in the morning, then 2, then 3, and still being awake. According to testimony presented during the investigation, sleep had become one of Michael Jackson's greatest battles. Not fame, not critics, not headlines. Sleep, the one thing every human being needs. The one thing he reportedly could no longer achieve naturally. And that may be one of the saddest details in this entire story. Because the final chapter of Michael Jackson's life was not driven by a desire to get high. It was driven by a desire to rest. There's a question that still lingers more than 15 years later. What would have happened if Michael Jackson had made it to opening night? Would this have been remembered as the greatest comeback in music history? Would the concerts have restored his confidence? Would the success have helped him escape the pressures that surrounded him? Or was the strain already too great? No investigation can answer that question. No court ruling can answer it. History never allows us to see the road not taken. What we do know is that the audience was ready. The tickets were sold. The dancers were rehearsing. The stage was being built. The lights were waiting. And somewhere inside a rented Los Angeles mansion, the star at the center of it all was fighting a battle that most fans could not see. A battle against exhaustion, against pressure, against sleeplessness, against time itself. Conclusion. Perhaps the greatest misconception about Michael Jackson's death is that it was a single event. A single injection, a single mistake, a single morning. In reality, tragedies rarely happen that way. They are often the final result of many smaller problems building over time. Years of pressure, years of expectations, years of physical and emotional strain. The official record tells us how Michael Jackson died. But understanding why he reached that point requires looking at the human being behind the legend. Not the superstar, not the icon, not the king of pop, just a man who desperately wanted to sleep. And that may be the most heartbreaking truth of all.